The monitor beeped steadily in room 507 of St. Michael's Memorial Hospital. Through the window I could see my father lying there, tubes running from his arms, his chest rising and falling with mechanical precision. My sister Amanda and brother Derek stood guard at the door like sentries, their faces set in matching expressions of contempt. "He doesn't want to see you," Amanda said, her voice dripping with the same superiority she'd perfected since childhood. "After what you did to the family business, you have no right to be here." I kept my face neutral, though my heart was racing. Dad had suffered a major heart attack 3 days ago, and this was the first I'd heard about it. Not from them, of course. One of the nurses had recognized my name and called me directly. "He's still my father," I said quietly. "I have a right to see him." Derek stepped forward, all 6 feet of his former football player frame trying to intimidate me. "Rights? You lost those when you abandoned the family company to chase your big dreams in healthcare management. Look how well that turned out, working some entry-level job while we kept Harrison Industries growing. If they only knew, but now wasn't the time for that revelation." "Please," I said, keeping my voice level. "Just 5 minutes." "You're not family anymore," Amanda smirked, crossing her arms. "Security will be here soon to escort you out. We've already added you to the restricted list." I looked past them into the room again. Dad's eyes were closed, but I could see the tension in his face even from here. The monitors showed elevated heart rate and blood pressure, not good signs for a cardiac patient. "Fine," I said, turning away. "But remember this moment." "Oh, we will," Derek called after me. "It's just another time you walked away when things got tough." I walked down the corridor, past the nurse's station where Maria, the head nurse, gave me a questioning look. I shook my head slightly, and continued to the elevator. As the doors closed, I pulled out my phone and made a call. "Marcus, yes, it's time. Execute Protocol 7 immediately, and please have security meet me in my office in 1 hour." The next 60 minutes were a blur of activity. While my siblings played their power games upstairs, thinking they controlled the situation, years of careful planning were coming to fruition. I had built this moment meticulously, piece by piece, waiting for the right time. 3 years ago, when I left Harrison Industries, my family thought I was running away. In reality, I was building something far bigger. While they focused on their small manufacturing empire, I had quietly been acquiring and transforming struggling hospitals across the state. St. Michael's was my crown jewel, purchased through a holding company 6 months ago. Only a handful of board members knew my true identity. To everyone else, including my family, I was just another mid-level administrator. The perfect cover, while I modernized everything from patient care protocols to financial systems. My office on the top floor, officially belonging to the mysterious new owner, was exactly what you'd expect: contemporary, pristine, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. I sat behind the massive desk, reviewing the final documents Marcus had prepared. At precisely 3 p.m., my phone buzzed. "Miss Harrison, security is bringing them up now." I straightened my blazer and stood moving to look out the window. "Right on schedule." I heard the commotion in the outer office. "This is ridiculous." Amanda's voice carried through the door. "We're the ones who called security on her." "The CEO wants to see you immediately," the guard said firmly. "Please enter." The door opened. I kept my back turned, letting the moment build. "What is the meaning of—" Derek's voice trailed off as he recognized my silhouette. I turned slowly, enjoying the way their jaws dropped in perfect synchronization. Gone was the casual attire I'd worn downstairs. Now I was every inch the CEO in a tailored suit that cost more than their monthly salaries combined. "Welcome to my hospital," I said calmly. "Please take a seat." Amanda's face had gone from red to white in record time. "Your hospital." St. Michael's Memorial Hospital, flagship of Harrison Healthcare Systems, along with the other 12 hospitals in our network across the state. I gestured to the chairs. "We have a lot to discuss regarding Dad's care, and your future visiting privileges." Derek tried to rally. "This is impossible. You couldn't afford Harrison Healthcare Systems, valued at $3.2 billion as of last quarter." I cut in smoothly. "Would you like to see the financials?" "I have them right here." I tapped a thick folder on my desk. But you walked away," Amanda stammered. "You were working as some low-level—" "I never walked away," I corrected her. "I simply chose to build something bigger." While you were busy running Dad's company into the ground with outdated practices and excessive personal expenses, I was transforming healthcare in this state. I sat down behind my desk, watching them struggle to process this new reality. Now, about Dad's treatment plan. I've assembled the best cardiac team in the country. They're flying in tonight. You can't just Derek started. I can, and I will. My voice was steel now. You see, while you were playing games with the restricted visitors list, I was reviewing Dad's entire medical history, including the warnings his doctor gave you both 6 months ago about his heart condition, warnings you ignored while pushing him to work longer hours. That hit home. They both flinched. So, here's how this will work, I continued. Dad will receive the best care available. You will both have limited visiting hours, supervised to ensure you don't cause him any additional stress, and if you attempt to interfere with his treatment or cause any disruption in my hospital, you'll be removed permanently. Your hospital, Amanda whispered, still in shock. Yes, my hospital, the one you just tried to ban me from. I allowed myself a small smile. How does it feel to be on the other side of that door? The silence was deafening. Years of their condescension, their dismissal of my choices, their certainty that I was a failure, all of it crashed down around them in this moment. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a father to visit and a hospital to run. I stood up. Security will show you out. Oh, and Amanda, that restricted list you put me on. I suggest you check it again. You might find some interesting changes. As they were let out in stunned silence, I picked up my phone. Maria, please prepare Dad's room for my visit, and make sure his monitors are properly adjusted. We need those numbers stable before the surgical team arrives. I looked out over my city, at the hospital I'd built, while they thought I was nothing. Sometimes the best revenge isn't served cold. It's served in a sterile hospital room, with the power to heal or restrict access at your fingertips. And this was just the beginning. After my siblings left, I took a moment to compose myself before heading to Dad's room. The corridor felt different now. Nurses nodded respectfully, no longer maintaining the pretense that I was just another administrator. Word travels fast in hospitals. Walking into room 507, I found Dad awake, staring at the ceiling. His eyes shifted to me, widening slightly as he registered my presence and professional appearance. Sarah? His voice was weak, but the surprise was evident. Amanda said you weren't coming. Amanda doesn't make those decisions anymore, I said softly, taking the seat beside his bed. How are you feeling? He struggled to sit up, and I quickly adjusted his bed. I don't understand. They said you were banned. Dad, there's something you need to know. I took his hand, noting how frail it felt. I own this hospital. Actually, I own the entire Harrison Healthcare Systems network. The heart monitor's beeping increased slightly. What? 3 years ago, when I left Harrison Industries, everyone thought I was running away. But I had a plan. I squeezed his hand gently. Remember Uncle James's old saying, the best revenge is massive success. A ghost of a smile crossed his face. Uncle James had been his younger brother, the family rebel who'd made his fortune in tech before passing away 10 years ago. He'd been the only one who supported my decision to leave. The trust fund he left me, I used it as seed money, started small, buying struggling rural hospitals, implementing modern systems, turning them around. Each success funded the next acquisition. I paused, letting him process. St. Michael's was my biggest move yet. Dad's eyes darted around the room, seeing it with new understanding. All this time, while Amanda and Derek were running Harrison Industries into the ground, taking out loans to maintain their lifestyles, I was building something bigger, something that actually helps people. I reached for the tablet on his bedside table. And now I'm going to help you. I showed him the specialist profiles I'd arranged. Dr. Patel is flying in from Mayo Clinic tonight. She's the best cardiac surgeon in the country. We're going to fix this, Dad. He was quiet for a long moment, staring at the ceiling again. I should have listened to you, he finally said. About modernizing the company, about sustainable practices. They told me you were being unreasonable, that your ideas would bankrupt us. They were protecting their gravy train, I said firmly. The company was their personal ATM. My changes would have meant actual work, actual responsibility. Sarah, his voice cracked slightly. The company, it's in trouble, isn't it? I nodded slowly. Major trouble. Amanda and Derek have been hiding it from you, but Harrison Industries is months away from bankruptcy. They've leveraged everything, taken out private loans, using company assets as collateral. The monitor showed another spike in his heart rate. I quickly continued, but that's not your concern right now. Your only job is to focus on getting better. Let me handle everything else. How? He asked. The company, your grandfather built it, is salvageable, I assured him. While building my healthcare network, I also quietly bought up Harrison Industries' debt through subsidiary companies. When the time comes, we'll restructure, save the jobs, modernize the operations, but with new management. Dad closed his eyes, a tear rolling down his cheek. I was so wrong about you, all these years. Rest now, I said, standing up. Dr. Patel will be here in a few hours. We'll talk more after your surgery. As I turned to leave, his hand caught mine. Sarah, thank you. I squeezed his hand one last time and left the room, nodding to the private security guard I'd stationed outside. No more interference from Amanda and Derek. In the elevator heading back to my office, my phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Harrison Industries financial audit complete. It's worse than we thought. Emergency board meeting called for tomorrow. I smiled slightly. Right on schedule. The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity. Dr. Patel arrived with her team, and I personally showed them to the conference room, where Dad's case was laid out. The surgical plan was aggressive, but necessary, a triple bypass with additional arterial repair. Just after midnight, as I was reviewing the final surgical preparations, Maria knocked on my office door. Miss Harrison, your sister and brother are in the lobby, with their lawyers. I checked my watch. Sooner than expected, but still according to plan. Send them up. Minutes later, Amanda burst in, Derek and two suited men behind her. You can't do this, she shouted. We've filed an emergency injunction. I raised an eyebrow. Do what exactly? Take over Dad's care. Make medical decisions. We have power of attorney. She slapped a document on my desk. Dated 6 months ago. I noted calmly, around the time you started hiding his condition from him. Interesting timing. One of the lawyers stepped forward. Miss Harrison, we represent the interests of Harrison Industries and, you mean the company that's about to default on $50 million in loans? I interrupted. The one where the CFO, that would be you, Amanda, has been falsifying financial reports to hide personal expenses. Derek's face went pale. You can't prove. Actually, I can. I opened my laptop, turning it to face them. Full audit results. Every questionable transaction, every hidden account, every falsified report. The SEC will have copies by morning. Amanda collapsed into a chair. You'll destroy everything. No, you did that yourselves. I stood up. Now Dad's surgery is scheduled for 6 a.m. You're welcome to wait in the family area like anyone else. But try to interfere, and you'll be dealing with more than hospital security. You'd really send your own siblings to jail? Derek asked incredulously. You tried to kill our father through negligence, while looting his company, I replied coldly. What do you think? The lawyers were already backing toward the door, no doubt recognizing a losing battle. Amanda and Derek soon followed, leaving me alone in my office. I looked out at the nighttime city skyline, remembering Uncle James's last words to me. They think money is power. Show them what real power looks like. The power to help, to heal, to make things right. Tomorrow Dad would get his surgery. Harrison Industries would begin its transformation. And my siblings would learn that sometimes the person they dismissed becomes the person they have to answer to. But for now, I had a hospital to run. The surgical floor waiting room was eerily quiet at 6 a.m. Amanda and Derek sat in opposite corners, both pretending the other didn't exist. Their lawyers had abandoned them hours ago, after reviewing the evidence I'd provided. Dr. Patel's team had taken Dad into surgery exactly on schedule. I stood at the observation window above the operating theater, watching the orchestrated precision of a world-class surgical team at work. This was what real power looked like, not the petty games my siblings played, but the power to literally hold someone's heart in your hands and make it whole again. My phone buzzed, an urgent message from Marcus. SEC agents just arrived at Harrison Industries. Board members are calling nonstop. Proceed as planned, I texted back. Then, after a moment's thought, make sure the employees are protected. 3 hours into the surgery, Amanda approached me. Her designer outfit was wrinkled, her makeup smeared. Sarah, we need to talk. About what? I kept my eyes on the surgery below. The embezzlement, the fraud, or how about Dad's medical condition that you hid from everyone? We were trying to protect him, she whispered. The company was everything to him. If he knew his children were destroying his legacy. I finally turned to face her. That his daughter was stealing millions, while his son approved fake contracts to cover it up. She flinched. You don't understand. After Mom died, my voice could have frozen fire. Don't you dare use Mom to justify this. She built that company alongside Dad. Every ethical policy, every employee protection, those were hers. And you stripped them all away. Derek had wandered over, looking even more disheveled than Amanda. What do you want from us? Want? I laughed softly. I don't want anything from you. Everything you had, everything you stole, it's already mine. The company, the assets, even those offshore accounts you thought were so clever. Their faces showed matching expressions of horror as the full implications hit them. You see, I continued, while you were busy playing corporate raiders, I was building something real. Every hospital I acquired, every system I modernized, it all led to this moment. Harrison Healthcare Systems now owns controlling interest in Harrison Industries through a series of completely legal, completely transparent transactions. You planned this, Amanda breathed. All of it. 3 years, I confirmed. Ever since you convinced Dad, I was too soft to run the company. Remember that board meeting where you said healthcare was for people who couldn't handle real business? Below us, Dr. Patel was completing the final sutures. The surgery had gone perfectly, exactly as I knew it would. The SEC will be finishing their initial investigation by noon, I said, checking my watch. The board will vote by 2. By end of business today, Harrison Industries will be under new management. You're destroying the family, Derek protested weakly. No, I'm saving it. Every job, every pension, every contract, they'll all be protected. The company will be restructured, modernized, integrated into my healthcare network. The only things being destroyed are your illegal schemes. A nurse entered the waiting room. Miss Harrison, your father is being moved to recovery. Everything went perfectly. I nodded. Thank you, Maria. Please ensure all post-operative protocols are followed exactly. Amanda stepped forward. We want to see him. No, the word was simple but final. You've lost that privilege. Once he's recovered, Dad can decide if he wants contact with you. Until then, you have more pressing concerns. On cue, my phone buzzed again. Marcus had sent a simple message. FBI just arrived. I showed them the screen. I'd suggest calling your lawyers back. You'll need them. You can't do this, Amanda whispered, but there was no conviction in her voice anymore. I already have. I headed toward the recovery room. Security will show you out. Oh, and Amanda, that executive condo you bought with company funds, I'll need those keys by tomorrow. I heard Derek trying to comfort a sobbing Amanda as security led them away, but I didn't look back. 3 years of planning, of building, of waiting, it had all led to this moment. In the recovery room, Dad was already showing signs of waking up. His color was better, his vitals strong. Dr. Patel stood nearby, reviewing his charts. Perfect timing, she said as I entered. He's doing exceptionally well. The new cardiac unit you funded really made a difference in our efficiency. Thank you, doctor, for everything. She smiled knowingly. Sometimes healing takes more than just surgery. Family wounds are often the deepest. As she left, Dad's eyes fluttered open. He looked confused for a moment, then focused on me. Sarah, I'm here, Dad. I took his hand. The surgery went perfectly. You're going to be fine. Amanda, Derek, are facing the consequences of their actions, I said firmly. But don't worry about that now. Focus on getting better. He squeezed my hand weakly. The company is safe, everything's safe. I'm taking care of it all. A tear rolled down his cheek. I should have trusted you, should have seen. I wiped away his tear. Rest now. We have all the time in the world to talk later. As he drifted back to sleep, my phone buzzed one final time. A news alert. Harrison Industries under federal investigation. Healthcare giant steps in to save jobs. I smiled slightly. Uncle James would have been proud. Sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's building something so much bigger than what they tried to take from you. By saving the company, I'd saved Dad's legacy. By exposing the truth, I'd freed him from my siblings' manipulation. And by building my own empire, I'd proven that sometimes the person they push away becomes the person who ends up holding all the cards. The monitor beeped steadily, a rhythm of victory in a game they never knew I was playing. 1 month later, the Harrison Industries boardroom looked different now. Gone were the outdated furnishings and stuffy atmosphere, replaced by modern decor and state-of-the-art technology. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, you could see the new Harrison Healthcare Systems logo being installed on the building across the street. Dad sat beside me at the head of the table, looking healthier than he had in years. The cardiac rehabilitation program had worked wonders, and without the stress of Amanda and Derek's manipulation, his recovery had exceeded all expectations. The merger is officially complete, I announced to the assembled board members. Harrison Industries will become the manufacturing division of Harrison Healthcare Systems, focusing on medical equipment and supplies. All jobs have been preserved, and we're actually expanding the workforce by 30% to meet our network's needs. The relief on the board members' faces was palpable. Many of them had feared the worst when the SEC investigation began, but my restructuring plan had saved not just the company, but their reputations as well, provided they hadn't been involved in Amanda and Derek's schemes. And what of the former management? One director asked carefully. Dad answered before I could. My daughter and son have accepted a plea deal. They'll serve reduced sentences in exchange for full cooperation and restitution. His voice was steady, but I knew this part still hurt him. Amanda would serve 3 years. Derek too. Their cooperation had revealed even more corruption than we'd initially discovered. Moving forward, I continued, we're implementing new oversight protocols. Every department will have transparency requirements, and our ethical guidelines are being completely revamped. Just like your mother always wanted, Dad said softly. After the meeting, we stood in what used to be Amanda's office, now being converted into a research and development center. I received a letter from Amanda yesterday, Dad said, looking out over the city. She actually apologized. First time in her life, I think. Prison has a way of adjusting perspectives, I replied. Derek's been trying to call me. Will you speak to them? Eventually, I considered the question carefully. Maybe, once they've proven they've actually changed. But they'll never have power in this company again. Dad nodded. You know your mother always said you were the one. Even when you were little, she'd tell me, Sarah sees the bigger picture. She'll build something amazing someday. I wish she could see it, I said quietly. She can. He squeezed my shoulder. And she'd be so proud. Not just of what you built, but how you built it. You saved everything. The company, the jobs, even your siblings from themselves. My phone buzzed. A text from Maria at the hospital. The new pediatric wing was ahead of schedule and under budget. The company's just the beginning, I said, showing him the message. We're expanding the hospital network, modernizing everything. In 5 years, we'll be the largest healthcare provider in the region, and I'll be right here to see it. Dad smiled. Thanks to my brilliant daughter and her world-class medical team. We walked together through the renovated offices. Employees nodded respectfully, no longer afraid of capricious leadership or sudden layoffs. The fear that had permeated these halls during Amanda and Derek's reign was gone. You know what your Uncle James used to say? Dad asked as we reached my new office, formerly his. The best revenge is massive success, I quoted. No, his other saying, power isn't about control, it's about creation. You didn't just take control, Sarah. You created something new, something better. I smiled, remembering the day I'd stood in the hospital corridor, letting Amanda and Derek think they'd won. Every step since then had been about building, not destroying. Ready for your checkup? I asked, changing the subject. Lead the way, boss, he grinned. As we headed to the hospital across the street, I caught our reflection in the glass doors, father and daughter, walking together towards something new. Not just a business empire, but a legacy of healing, of making things right. Sometimes the best endings aren't about revenge at all. They're about rebuilding, recreating, and remembering that true power lies not in what you can take from others, but in what you can build for everyone. And this was just the beginning.